Hello, and welcome to SportsMag. I'm Wiley Uhrig.
And I'm Andrew Hobner. This weekend, the Buffs finally played their makeup game from after the floods.
They took on the FCS team Charleston Southern University, hoping to get back to 500 for the season. Let's see if they pulled it off. Quarterback Chatillon, in the shotgun position, hands it off to running back Michael Atkins, who breaks through and runs it in for the touchdown. Later in the game, Lufau back to pass again, but hands it off to Michael Atkins once again, running down the sideline, breaks away through some wimpy tacklers, and finds his way to the end zone. Next up, you guessed it, more of the Atkins diet. Atkins runs it in for the easy score. Hobner, what you got for us?
Well, you got to give him a little bit of time to celebrate. But Cepho dropping back for the pass and hits P. Rich. And what's he going to do? Oh, he's just going to switch some field, turn on those jets, and P. Rich is gone, ladies and gentlemen. Nice long touchdown for him, and Colorado stays on top. But wait, we're not done yet. We still got, who else but Michael Atkins, coming through the line and turning on the Madden 25 truck stick, going practically through the entire defense, and then putting on a sprint again. That's Atkins' fourth of the day. What a killer. So let's take a look at those final stats now. CU won 43-10. Cepho Lufau had 198 yards with 1 touchdown. Meanwhile, Michael Atkins shredded the field with 137 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns.
Let's see what Coach Mack had to say following the win.
Thankful that Charleston Southern wanted to play us, or we wouldn't have been able to play today. That was great for the city of Boulder, great for our campus, and great for our team.
So it was great. We're 500 going into the last 6 games of Pac-12, and we can get 3 more.
We're 3-3 with 3 bowl wins. We need to go get the one next week, and if we do, that means November matters in Colorado, which is great.
We want to play together, and we want to just do what we have to do to help the team win.
I thought our kids played hard today, and if we just could have, in the first half, we could have got them out on a couple third downs, I think they wouldn't have been able to hang around as well.
Freshman running back Michael Atkins hasn't played much this season, but when he finally got his chance, he certainly impressed. In the game against Charleston Southern, Atkins finished with 4 touchdowns, breaking the freshman record previously set by Herschel Chapman in 1994. In the game, Atkins scored on runs of 22, 5, 33, and 34 yards. This game for Atkins not only made him the frontrunner for the starting job, but his name now lies in the record books.
We've officially reached the midpoint of the season, and one player in particular is continuing to shine. Freshman linebacker Addison Gillum was voted the best newcomer of the year for the Pac-12. So far this season, he leads the conference with over 11 tackles per game and 67 total tackles. He emerged on the big stage several weeks ago when he had 18 tackles against the Oregon Ducks. Gillum is also a 4th-team All-American at this point in the season.
Since it's time for midterms on campus, we decided we should give our own grades to the football team. SportsMag's Ellen Crossley is breaking out a red pen and playing professor for this week's Buff Banter.
Ellen Crossley answering this week's viewer questions. The first question we have is from Curtis Beitler. He asks, it's halfway through the year. How would you grade Coach Mack's freshman class? The easiest place to start is Addison Gillum, who we talked about earlier. This season, he's been leading the team with the most tackles and leading the conference in tackles as well. Coaches in the media have been praising his football IQ and how he pulls off great plays out of nowhere. Another player we have is running back Michael Atkins, who set his own record this past weekend with the most touchdowns made by a freshman running back. And that's not the best part of it. Now Christian Powell doesn't have to carry the weight of the running game on his own. We have 2 really good running backs, which gives more options to our quarterback, Cepho Lufau. Lufau has been impressive himself as he earned the starting job just this last week. He was highly recruited out of high school and has not disappointed. With these 3 freshmen, the Buffs are looking good for years to come. I would give them an A- because even though we haven't won a ton of games, we have a lot of potential and the team is only going to get better. Our second question comes from Dylan Shepard asking, how would you grade Coach Mack and the rest of the staff for the outcome of this season? Seeing as last year we were 1-5 and this year we are 3-3, they have obviously improved the team. I'm really impressed with the way they have handled the players and how the players have responded, which makes them a stronger team. I would give them a B+ because they've made some mistakes but are getting better at being consistent and making improvements each game. That's going to do it for this week's Buff Banner. I'm Ellen Crossley. Back to you guys at the desk.
While the team is preparing for this weekend's game against Arizona, the athletic department is preparing for something special. CU is declaring Saturday's game as the annual Blackout Breast Cancer Game. Fans and players are encouraged to wear black and pink to show their support to the cause. The school will also host a tailgate before the game, and there will be a designated area for breast cancer survivors in the stands. In his presser Tuesday, Coach Mack talked about what the game means to the community.
People that have been victims of it, that it's really touching a lot of lives. So today, Saturday, not only the game, but what it represents and the emotions of it all the way around, not just dealing with football, is a big deal.
Kickoff is 6 p.m. on Saturday.
It's been 398 days since the Buffs recorded their last Pac-12 win, and fans are starting to get antsy. SportsMag's Mallory Chris stormed campus to hear from students in this week's Man on the Street.
Thanks, guys. So the football team is now 3-3 thanks to their win last Saturday against Charleston Southern. I'm here at the UMC asking students what their feelings were about the game and what their expectations are for this weekend's homecoming game. Surprised or?
I'm not surprised.
I knew we should have beat them, but I was still a little nervous about the game.
I think this year they're playing good.
Genuinely surprised when we win.
Definitely thought CU could beat them. They are not we're way better school than they are, and we're looking pretty good this year football-wise.
I wasn't surprised. I thought it was a good win for the team. I guess the team really needed a confidence boost.
I don't know.
No.
Off the top of my head, I know he's a freshman. He's really awesome.
Cepho? Yes.
He's doing a great job. Of course, being a freshman, he needs more practice, but I think he has the opportunity to shine.
I would like to see him be able to throw downfield further.
He's changing the offense for the better.
U of A.
Arizona,
right?
Arizona.
It's definitely going to be an uphill battle.
This is definitely our best chance of beating a Pac-12 team.
It's a good team, so it will be tough, but I think we will win.
Yes.
I'm definitely going to have pink on me.
I will be. Black and pink.
Yeah. So it looks like students weren't so surprised about the win last Saturday and think that CU can pull out a victory against Arizona this weekend. And remember, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so don't forget to wear pink. I'm Mallory Chris. This is CU SportsMag. Back to you guys at the desk.
Well, the Buffs' record has improved from last year, but luck hasn't been on their side. This week, we heard about one odd stat that we thought would make a good trivia question for you. The question is, what is CU's record in coin tosses this year? Stick around, and we'll have that answer for you later on. It might surprise you.
Coming up next on SportsMag, the cross-country team is gearing up for the hosting of the Pac-12 championships.
And the basketball team held media day on Wednesday. Hear why they are more confident than ever going into this season.
The future is open for business,
Whoever is on
so step
server.
right in and create something inspiring. Be motivated, be compelled, be excited, be united, to think deeper and see farther. On the field, in the lab, above the earth, beside great minds. Create something that doesn't exist and question what does. You can, you will lead, exceed at the University of Colorado.
Inside each of us, there's a spark to push, to challenge, to lead, and create ideas that change everything. Reimagine, reinvent, rewrite the way you see the world. Achieve the unthinkable, solve the unsolvable, and create the unimaginable. Down the court, in the lab, above the earth, beside great minds, you can, you will ignite, unleash, excel at the University of Colorado.
Trouble again. Hey, Bobo, where's your video game? In here. Oh, look at this. Uh-oh, it's my dad's. You want to hold it? What'll I do? If you get my new comic activity book, More Adventures with Scruff, you'll find out what you can do about bullies and guns. And you'll see lots of games. Cool. For your free copy of my new comic activity book, just write Scruff McGruff, Chicago, Illinois, 60652, and help take a bite out of crime.
I want it. You know trouble can start when the clock hits 3. When there's no place after school for kids to be. Nothing to do but hanging on city streets. When mom and dad are working to make ends meet. Now it's time to beat the street.
With after-school programs, city kids aren't left alone and vulnerable. They keep on learning between 3 and 6, but these programs need your support. Join with the Urban League to keep them going. Call now, because it's
time to beat the street.
Basketball season less than 2 weeks away, and the teams are as ready as they will ever be. Fellow anchor Andrew Hobner went out to the team's media day to preview the upcoming season.
At the media day for Colorado basketball, head coach Tad Boyle tried to temper the hype surrounding this year's Buffaloes team. Boyle doesn't want his players buying into it, but it's sometimes hard to not be bullish about this team, its players, and where it's headed this season.
Full and hungry is what it's all about. And then, Kyle, we try not to talk about expectations. Now, obviously, days like this, and our players are involved in social media, and they know what is going on outside of our program. But what we try to do is hold ourselves accountable to our internal standards of our program.
After losing top defender Andre Robertson, who was taken in the first round of the NBA draft, Boyle and his staff recruited hard in the offseason, eventually catching elite players like point guard Jaron Hopkins and wing forward Trayshawn Fletcher. Much of this team is centered around a core of 3 returnees, guards Spencer Dinwiddie and Askia Booker, as well as center Josh Scott. While admitting the loss of Robertson was significant, no one in this group of 3 seems worried coming into this season.
I think it's going to be great. It's going to allow me to be a little bit more aggressive. Ski is going to be, big. It's really still a collective effort. What Dre brought to us was a great team defender and an outstanding rebounder, and so we're going to have to pick the slack up together as a group.
I need to protect the paint a little bit better. So pretty much I'm just going into this year saying I don't have to do it by myself. I'm just going to, chip in. Other people are going to chip in. We're going to get it done.
To take on a bigger role. Yeah, Andre has left, and we wish he had him back, but we don't. So Spencer and I, we've talked a lot about it and what we need to do for the team and how we're going to lead it and how we're going to pursue it this year.
After a third consecutive 20-win season, the Buffs have even higher expectations, and with a talented young group of freshmen, CU boasts one of the deeper lineups in the Pac-12. The Buffs opened their season against the Baylor Bears November 8th in Dallas, Texas. For CU SportsMag, this is Andrew Hobner.
10 players on this team are either freshmen or sophomores.
As the NBA season kicks off, several Buffs are lacing up their sneakers for the upcoming year. Former CU superstar Chauncey Billups is returning to Detroit, where he will try to lead the Pistons back to the playoffs. Meanwhile, breakout star Chris Copeland is recovering from an injury, but is expected to be ready for the regular season for the Indiana Pacers. Recent graduate Alec Burks is gearing up for an expanded role with the Utah Jazz after a quiet 2012. And finally, after being drafted in the first round, Andre Robertson is seeing some first-team minutes with the Oklahoma City Thunder in the preseason. The NBA season starts October 24th. The basketball team seems to be excited for the upcoming season. But what are our basketball experts thinking? Joe Paris and Leo Wolfson are in for this week's CU Double Team to weigh expectations versus reality.
Today, along with Leo Wolfson, we're going to talk a little bit about men's basketball season. Believe it or not, it's right around the corner, and there's a lot of national and local hype about how good the men's basketball team is going to be. Last year, they made the first round of the NCAA playoffs, went no further. They lost their star player, Andre Robertson. I'm not sold on the national hype, but, well, Leo, you've been telling me you think they're the real deal.
Well, I agree. There has been a lot of hype for the team, but I think it is somewhat deserved. The team came in at about 27 at the USA Today coaches poll, and they've got a lot of guys returning from last year as well as a lot of youth. What is important to me is the fact that the guys that are returning from last year were major contributors last year. That's huge. Once you get that first year of college experience under your belt and you can be a starter who's putting points on the board, it's only going to get easier from there. You guys like 6'10" Josh Scott, who was killing it last year, averaging about 15 points a game. He's going to come through and step it up even more. I'm absolutely positive of that. More importantly, you got Spencer Dinwiddie. The guy is going to be an NBA draft hopeful and sometime in the future, and he's going to absolutely be a team leader for the guys. He's a junior this year, and he's been a starter all 3 years. It's only going to be success as far as that goes.
And I hear on the star players, but to me, a great college basketball team not only has those great players like Dinwiddie and Josh Scott, but those role players. You lose guys like Sabatino Chen, who were just the energy on the court. Countless times last year, Colorado was down in the dumps, and Chen got a loose ball or something and got it. And that's something you have to learn. That's not something that you can just come in and do. And so, yeah, you got Dinwiddie. Yes, you got Josh Scott coming back. Got Askia Booker. But I'm not sold that the new reserves and a lot of the younger guys are going to be able to fill the gap right away. Maybe eventually they will, but even Tad Boyle said during CU Basketball Media Day that he's afraid that the media is overhyping the team, and they may be a very good team, but they're not a great team. Last year, by no means of the word great were they great. They were a very solid, good team. Had a pretty good record in Pac-12 play, very good in non-conference, but this year, the non-conference schedule is going to be very tough, and the Pac-12 is going to stay very strong. You got teams like Kansas coming in, Oklahoma State, even Harvard, who's always a solid team, and I just don't know if Colorado is going to be able to deal with the pressure and the amount of talent the other teams are bringing in with so many young guys.
Well, you know, when it comes down to it, the young guys do have youth, but they are very talented youth. You got Jaron Hopkins, who is the number 30 point guard in the nation coming in. He will fulfill that role Sab Chen left over. He's been impressing guys left and right. In the scrimmage, he was very strong, and I think he'll definitely be stepping it up. You also got guys coming in like Josh Scott, like I said before, and Xavier, who's also going to kill it as well. I think this team is really going to surprise some people. I do agree they might have a slow start. They do have a very challenging non-conference schedule, but I think you're going to start seeing them heating up once they get more and more experience going on into January. Once the Pac-12 championship season starts going, I think they're really going to get momentum at that point, really getting a good feel for the chemistry of the team, and that's where you're going to see them start getting to in the top 25.
Yeah, and it's hard for me to disagree with you because there's a lot of good intangibles that Colorado basketball has this year. However, you mentioned the younger guys, and you have a guy like Wesley Gordon who was redshirted last year coming in, and as much talent as he may have, until you've played NCAA Division I basketball, it's impossible to know the feel. And I'm optimistic, just like you, that there's a lot of talent and there's a lot of possibility on this team. However, I think, at least for the first half of the season, it may be a learning process. You lose your number one player, Andre Robertson, to the draft. Huge blow to the team. Obviously, you can't keep him, but how do you replace the number one defenseman in the entire country?
Well, one thing you may be forgetting about Andre Robertson is that he was not a very good scorer. He was mainly a rebounder. That's the void Wesley Gordon's going to fulfill. Wesley Gordon is a very good rebounder as well as a scorer. He will fulfill Andre Robertson's role because of that, because I think it'll equal up as far as that goes. I think the team is going to be very high scoring with Skia Booker putting up big points, and either way, it's going to be very exciting to watch the team play.
Well, we'll definitely have to see. He's Leo Wolfson. I'm Joe Paris. That was SportsMag Double Team.
Coming up after the break, the cross-country team is number 1 in the land. What'll they do next?
SportsMag's Laura Kuchkowski went to the women's fantasy basketball camp on Friday. See how the community is rallying around the women. Stay tuned.
Are usually very adventurous people, very outdoorsy. They usually are very caring, very passionate people.
For the second year in a row, CU Boulder has outproduced all other universities in the nation, both big and small, in the number of alumni who are serving as Peace Corps volunteers. That's a very, very important thing for us. Peace Corps continues to be the gold standard for international volunteer service. It's Americans making a difference around the world, and many of those Americans have come from this great university. I'm not sure if it's a beautiful setting or the mountains or the weather, but one thing's for sure, there's a special civic pride on this campus.
The great spirit of volunteerism here on campus and internationalism that you find here really just kind of brings Peace Corps out a little more than it does on other campuses, I think.
You should be very proud to come from a campus that inspires so much public service and collectively works to build a better world.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Nutrition can lead to great things. Find out how a healthy lifestyle can help your child succeed.
Many people underestimate the time that goes into being a college athlete, but the women's basketball team gave people a glimpse last week. Laura Kuchkowski was there for the team's fantasy camp.
The women's basketball team hosted a fantasy camp last Friday to give their fans a look at what they do throughout the entire year.
We're just kind of giving back to our older fans and helping them learn the game of basketball a little more, get in touch with what we do every single day and how we prepare for games.
The camp was created for women 20 years or older as a way for the team to reach out to a group of fans who may not have as great of an understanding for the game. During the camp, the women were taken through drills at team practices every day.
Help them understand what we do as a basketball team and how much they mean to us as fans.
The women began with a series of warm-ups like stretching and dribbling and moved into a sequence of defensive drills.
Yeah, the main thing we do here is play defense. Defense wins games for us.
Not only is the defense important, but the small fundamental techniques are key for any game.
It's really fundamentals is a huge part of playing basketball. Fundamentals is like making layups, learning how to shoot the proper way, and just small little details that will help them out.
We do on a daily basis, like knowing that all these little drills that we do here are the same drills that we do every day in practice.
The women also learned what the girls actually go through before even stepping out onto the court.
So they do 25 perfect push-ups. They do 50 sit-ups where they have to have their hands behind their head, behind their ears, and if they do this, that doesn't count. So they were very pay attention to detail. And then the last one is they just have a bar and they do 30 squats.
No matter what the girls do before playing the game, sometimes they make the shot and sometimes they don't. Either way, the camp showed the women how valuable practice may be, because it truly is the small things that make the biggest impact.
Keep working on your fundamentals, like the small things is what make you better.
What I always tell the ladies is start fast and finish strong.
Laura Kuchkowski, CU SportsMag.
The women kick off their season on the 2nd of November against Colorado School of Mines.
The men's cross-country team is now ranked at #1 in the country, and it couldn't come at a better time. They're just 1 week away from hosting the Pac-12 championships. The race will be on Saturday, November 2nd at Coal Creek Golf Course in Louisville, Colorado. The Buffs will be racing on a brand new course instead of the usual Buffalo Ranch racing course on CU South Campus. Coach Mark Wetmore says their home course would be too hard for visiting runners. He says that the course will still be tough, but cross-country is hard enough on its own.
People in this room have had the nightmare where you're in a dangerous situation, alone, scared, and in your underwear. And that's cross country.
Men's race starts at 10:40 a.m. and the women's start at 11:40. Coming up next on SportsMag, Jenna Chatillon has your weather for upcoming sporting events, taking my job over on the green screen.
And does she do it better? Probably. And we'll get you that answer to that trivia question from earlier. Stay tuned.
I thought he would just sleep it off.
I didn't think he was that bad.
I had no idea he was taking prescription drugs.
He only drank as much as me. I was fine.
We didn't want to get in trouble.
I thought this kind of thing happened all the time.
I thought someone else was taking care of him. If I would have called.
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 If I would have just called.
I'd still be alive.
Oh my God. What is she thinking? Her hair? Ew. No one likes you.
No wonder you don't have any friends.
You're so ugly and
Ew,
fat.
is she really wearing that? Wow. So she's so weird. Who wears that? That is so gross. Oh wow. Seriously?
A mi Juan le cuesta mucho hacer la tarea. ¿Cómo puedo ayudar? By coming here, you're already helping. Teachers have a lot to learn from parents.
Dice que ya con venir aquí estás ayudando, que los maestros tienen mucho que aprender de ti.
By the way, he's been a little mischievous lately.
Dice que me porto requete bien.
Juan.
Hables inglés o no, debes participar en la educación de tu hijo. Aprende cómo llamando.
Only you
can prevent forest fire.
And it's true. We know we can count on you to do what Rocky says.
drown your campfires with water. Make sure it's totally wet. Then stir and drown again.
We know we can count on you to do what Rocky says.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
Last Friday's CU women's soccer team traveled up to Berkeley, California to play an exciting away game, tying the number 9 California team. After a scoreless first half, both teams came out onto the field ready to fight. In the 67th minute, the Buffs finally got on the board with Madison Crosser finding the back of the net. The score remained in the favor of CU until the 89th minute when Cal's Emmy Lawson scored. After 2 overtime periods, the game ended in a tie. The Buffs look to beat USC at home next week on Friday, October the 25th.
On Sunday afternoon, the Buffs women's volleyball team defeated Oregon State on the road at Gill Coliseum. This was their first conference road victory since joining the Pac-12 in 2011. They swept the Beavers in 3 games, 30-28, 25-21, and 25-23. Kara Schroeder and Alexis Austin each had 12 kills in the win. Schroeder also had 13 digs, which solidified her 5th double-double of the season. With the win, the Lady Buffs improved to 12-6 overall and 4-4 in the Pac-12. Before that, the team lost to the Oregon Ducks in Eugene. The Ducks defeated the Buffs 3-0, winning in all 3 sets. Despite the loss, several players shined with impressive stats. Junior middle blocker Kelsey English led the team with 9 kills and recorded a hit match best. She also had no errors on 15 attacks and recorded 3 digs. Nikki Lindau had 7 kills herself and posted 4 blocks during the match. The Buffs play again Friday night when they host the University of Arizona here in Boulder.
I hope you haven't been spending too much time worrying about the trivia question because we've got the answer for you right now. In case you forgot the question, here it is. What is the Buffs' record in coin tosses so far this season? It's not a question, but their answer is 0-6, unfortunately. The odds on that are happening 1-63. Surprisingly, only one team has scored on their first drive against the Buffs this year. The sun has been out for most of the week, but several sporting events coming up. Weather could play a little bit of factor. SportsMag Jenna Chatillon is here to the weather to talk about us. Wow, that was so bad.
SportsMag weather. Fall season is definitely in full swing, and it looks like we've got a beautiful weekend ahead of us, so let's get started. This Friday, the weekend kicks off with the CU soccer team playing against the Arizona State Sun Devils in Tempe, Arizona. Looks like the weather over there is definitely a change of pace from what we've been having here. We've got a high of 80, low of 54. The next day, that Saturday, our nationally ranked cross-country team has an all-day meet in Louisville. A little cooler this day, high of 50 degrees, low of 34. It's supposed to alternate between being cloudy and sunny, so just bring layers to put on and off as necessary. And of course, that same evening, get ready for our football game. The Buffs take on the UCLA Bruins. They've got an away game in Pasadena, California. Looks like a beautiful, clear, sunny Southern California autumn day. High of 77, low of 53. Again, the game is in the evening, so dress warm for that. Sure to be a super fun night. And also that same Saturday, right here in Boulder, our CU women's basketball team is playing against the Colorado School of Mines. Pretty nice day, mostly sunny, clear skies, high of 55. Getting a little chilly in the evening, 31, so be sure to wear some warm clothes as you're walking to and from course. That's about all the time we have for CU SportsMag weather. I hope everyone has a super fun weekend cheering on the Buffs and that you can make it to some of those away games. I'm Jenna Chatillon reporting for CU SportsMag. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Jenna. That was the best. So, Hobner, homecoming game this weekend. We're playing Arizona. What do you think about it?
Well, CU's had a decent year, but Arizona just has too good of a running game. I think the Wildcats are going to take it away 35-20. What about you?
That's what I'm thinking. You know, the Buffs, I don't know. They're just not going to handle it.
It's just the way it works.
Okay. Well, that's it for this week's edition of CU SportsMag Weather. I'm Wiley Uhrig.
And I'm Andrew Hobner. But before we go, I would like to apologize for my harsh comments towards CU football last week. I'm obviously a nerd. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at CU SportsMag and check out our new website at cusportsmag.com.
Have a great weekend, everybody, and happy homecoming.